a complete view, a unified view of the customer. So how can we get data from multiple systems unified is the question we're answering here. Well, we can start over the left. We can have, natively, data comes in silos. A system gathers the data, it stays in that system. So you have your email data over here and your web data over there and your mobile app data over there, and it's not naturally unified. That obviously doesn't do us any good because we want to unify it. So possibly the simplest thing we could do is we could just have a hub where there's one system that pulls the data out of one silo and then shuttles it off to some other silos. So we have the data shuffling back and forth in these pipeline sort of things, not being stored, just being transferred from one system to the other. So in theory, every system could have its own copy of all the data from all the other systems. That's what a hub would do. As you can imagine, just by saying it, well, now I have 4 copies of the same data. The chances of them actually being identically consistent and synchronized are pretty close to 0. So data hubs have some advantages. Mostly they're really easy to install, but they don't really give you that unified view, and there are some other issues that we'll talk about in a moment. The customer data platform in the center there is where we finally, or firstly, if you will, get the data all in one place in a single database. And this diagram, again, the source systems and the applications are up on that delivery layer. So just to explain this diagram, if it's not self-evident, down at the bottom is data. In the middle are decisions, things like campaign management and orchestration and predictive modeling and so on. So we decide what messages to send to people, and then up on the upper layer are the actual delivery systems. These may be the same system, say one of the silo systems which does all 3 functions, or they may be different systems. I may, for example, have a specialized personalization system or specialized predictive modeling system that, or content management system that sits on that decision layer. So the CDP is the first time at least the data layer is unified, truly unified with one persistent database that gathers all the customer data and then shares it back out to the decision systems, which in that layer are still separate. The next core over on to the right of that is the marketing cloud, or the journey orchestration engine, Joe, so call it, where we unify the decision layer as well as the data layer. And actually, Missouri would fit into that. They have one engine that decides what messages to send them, pushes them out to the different channels. So it's more unified, which is a good thing. It's more unified, which also means that you have to be really good at both things. You have to have not only a great database system on the data layer, but a great decision system. So it's a little more complicated. You're asking more of the one product in that model than you are in just in the CDP. And then over on the far right, we have the ultimate, where it's just one big system that does everything. And there are actually a lot of companies. So, all right, so that's what this slide is talking about the different ways of sharing the data and why the CDP has the advantages that it has.